Hi folks, welcome to Great Books, Big Ideas. My name is Jim. Thanks for joining me. I'd like to do a tag video today, and this is the Shakespeare Journey tag, which was originated in 2023 by Kelly at Books I'm Not Reading, Jason at Old Blues Chapter and Verse, and Nicole at A Day of Small Things. And this tag has continued into 2024, and now that it is Shakestember, where a lot of booktubers are covering Shakespeare for September, I thought I would take a crack at this because I was tagged by Book Chat with Pat. Pat has a great channel. You should check out her videos. She's doing incredible work over there. And I really enjoyed her tag video, and I thought, let me give this one a shot. So there are 12 prompts for this, and I'd like to just do some off-the-cuff responses. This is unscripted, and we'll just see where it goes. Number one, what was your first experience reading Shakespeare, and what was it like? My first experience reading Shakespeare would have been Romeo and Juliet in 8th grade English class. It was taught to us. We were guided through pretty carefully. I could follow the story pretty well. It's a classic romance story. I wasn't very, romantically inclined at that age yet. That would come pretty soon, but so it wasn't anything I could particularly identify with strongly yet. But the story did grab me, the tragedy, the family conflict, it was all there. And I don't remember if the play was paired with West Side Story or not, but right around the same time I watched West Side Story, and I drew my own comparisons between the two stories. And yeah, I liked Romeo and Juliet. It was good. It was sad. It was exciting. Lots of conflict. And I guess it put Shakespeare on notice for me. He was on the radar, and I knew I would be getting more Shakespeare soon. I think this other Shakespeare plays we read in high school, it's been a long time, so I might be not fully remembering this, but I'm pretty sure we read Julius Caesar and Macbeth and Hamlet in subsequent years. But Hamlet made a strong impression on me for sure, as well as Macbeth, even Julius Caesar. But yeah, that was my first experience. Number two, has the reading of a Shakespeare play ever brought you to tears? What scene was it, and where were you when it happened? Well, I think immediately of King Lear, the tragedy of King Lear. I think it's arguably Shakespeare's greatest tragedy, his most profound tragedy, and his most sad tragedy. And I don't know if I was literally brought to tears when I read this. It might not have been the first time I read it, which was in my freshman English Lit survey class. We used this textbook. This is the exact same textbook. I've kept it all these years. Norton Anthology of English Literature, 4th edition. Dr. Paul Green was my instructor. He was a Shakespeare expert, and we read King Lear in this class, and that was my first time through it. We then read it again in his Shakespeare Tragedy and Histories course, and we used the complete Pelican Shakespeare. That was our textbook for this. Same textbook. I've held it all these years. And I know we read King Lear again in that class. And then I read it on my own at least once or twice after that. And I've seen at least one dramatization of King Lear, the Sir Laurence Olivier television version. And somewhere along the line in there, I was probably moved to tears by King Lear's death scene at the end of the play in Act 5. It is gutting. It is, that tragedy works on so many levels, and it all comes to the fore at the end when Cordelia, his favorite daughter, has died, and it's King Lear's, grappling with that, and it's just absolutely pathetic in the saddest possible way. That's a really moving scene. And I wouldn't wish the loss of a child on anyone. I hope I never experience that myself. And the dramatization of this, which is compounded with like the loss of Lear's kingdom, like he has basically made lots of mistakes that have, divided his family. Everything is just horrible, and he's lost his mind too. So that would be the one that I would single out as maybe the saddest scene in Shakespeare that I've read. Number 3, are there any people that have played a significant role in your Shakespeare journey? Well, I would mention Dr. Paul Green, my English Lit and Shakespeare professor at Westchester University. He was a quiet, unassuming, modest, but hugely intelligent man. He just knew his stuff. I loved his teaching manner, which was not flamboyant at all, but he was just, sort of a kind teacher. He knew his Shakespeare in and out. And he exposed me to a lot of the history plays, which I had not read any of before. And of course, we did like all the great tragedies in that class. So I have him to thank a lot for that. And in fact, he just retired about a year or two ago. I think he's in his 90s. He had taught at Westchester, I believe, for over 50 years. And I was able to go to a little happy hour celebration of his retirement at a local pub here in Westchester. And it's kind of completed the circle for me. I was able to tell him, how much I appreciated him. And so that he would definitely be the biggest influence on my Shakespeare journey. Number 4, do you have a favorite book or film about Shakespeare? I don't know if I would say one favorite above all, but a couple I'll mention is The Year of Lear, which I read several years ago. It's a great blend of Elizabethan history with the history of King Lear, the play, and a lot of appreciation of that play. And this is great social context, very well told story. I highly recommend that book, The Year of Lear. And it's really focused on that one year, and you just get a lot of a sense of, the world that Shakespeare lived in, the immediate circumstances that may have impacted the writing of that play. The other one I would mention as a favorite would be Will in the World by Stephen Greenblatt. There's, I think, some controversy about that book in terms of like how accurate the historical representations are. But Greenblatt's very upfront, and he says, I'm speculating here, and he's trying to fill in a lot of the gaps in Shakespeare's biography. But I thought this was great social context, great history, great literary criticism, all sort of blended into one. It was a very enjoyable read. Number 5, which character in Shakespeare most resembles you, and in what ways? Well, this is a toughie, because I don't know if I really resemble a lot of Shakespeare characters or any Shakespeare characters, but we'll just go with first thought, best thought. What came to mind is to play As You Like It, one of Shakespeare's great comedies. And I see some of myself, at least, in 2 characters in that play, Jacques and Touchstone. I think I'm a bit of a blend of those two, maybe. And Jacques has one of Shakespeare's most famous speeches, the all the world's a stage speech, which is a speech that really spoke to me. And but just the characters of him and Touchstone are, I think I can see some of myself in those characters, at least. Number 6, which play would you most like to see performed in a theater and why? I haven't seen enough Shakespeare plays live. I've seen Midsummer Night's Dream, and I enjoyed that quite a bit. That plays very well on stage. Um, but the one that comes to mind would be, I would like to see Othello on the stage. It's such a dramatic play. You've got. I would like to see Iago in the flesh, like perhaps Shakespeare's most evil character, like evil to the core, in a scary kind of evil character, and to watch him work his machinations, and then to see sort of the racial angle played out between Othello and Desdemona. Uh, yeah, I think that would be a terrific play to see live in the theater. Number 7, what actor throughout history would you most like to have seen play Hamlet while in his prime? I don't know if I have a great answer to this one. I will, of the filmed versions of Hamlet I've seen, there was a sort of a modernized version with Ethan Hawke as Hamlet and Bill Murray as Polonius. I enjoyed that version quite a bit. And so, but he's already played that part. So I can't think of an actor who I would like to see play Hamlet. Yeah, I think I'll just take a pass on that one. I don't really know how to handle it. Number 8, deliver your favorite speech or soliloquy from a Shakespeare play. Well, maybe I'll do the All the World's a Stage, even though I'm not sure that's my absolute favorite, but it's definitely one of them. There, just as a sidebar story, uh, I once memorized Hamlet's To Be or Not to Be soliloquy, and there's a funny story around that. At this technical writing job I used to have, this was maybe like 30 years ago. I had an old used Ford Escort that I commuted. It was only like a 10-minute drive from our townhouse to the job, but it was a crappy car. It leaked oil, and it had no radio in it. I think I paid like $900 for this car. It was a junker, but it got me around for a couple years. Anyway, without a radio in the car, and this was in the days before, like the iPod and all that, like I just started memorizing poems and reciting them to myself as I would go to work and back. So, To Be or Not to Be, I still have most of that memorized, but that's such a famous one. Like, I don't even know if it's my favorite soliloquy, but it's really good. So give me a second. I'll pull up As You Like It, and we'll give it a reading. This one I don't have memorized. This is from Act 2, Scene 7, As You Like It. The speaker is Jacques. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts, his acts being 7 ages. At first, the infant mewling and puking in the nurse's arms. Then the whining schoolboy, with his satchel and shining morning face, creeping like snail unwillingly to school. And then the lover, sighing like furnace, with a woeful ballad made to his mistress's eyebrow. Then a soldier, full of strange oaths and bearded like the pard, jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation even in the cannon's mouth. And then the justice, in fair round belly, with good capon lined, with eyes severe and beard of formal cut, full of wise saws and modern instances, and so he plays his part. The 6th age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon, with spectacles on nose and pouch on side. His youthful hose well saved, a world too wide for his shrunk shank, and his big manly voice turned again toward childish treble, pipes, and whistles in his sound. Last scene of all, that ends this strange eventful history, in second childishness and mere oblivion. Sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything. Question number 9. Do any of Shakespeare's plays intimidate you? If yes, what play and why? No, I mean, I've read them all. I finished all of Shakespeare's plays in my 30s. It was a dedicated reading project. I said, I'm going to read them all. So I went through every single play in this book and got through them. Some of them are harder to understand than others. I had some trouble with the history plays because I wasn't really up on my British history so much, but I wouldn't say any of them were really intimidating. Number 11, which is your favorite Shakespeare play and why? Well, Hamlet comes to mind as a favorite because I've read it more than any of the others. It's the only Shakespeare play I tried to teach. I think I taught it once or twice. And you learn something better when you teach it. And I've seen more versions of it. I would say, though, maybe another favorite would be Midsummer Night's Dream. That one really grew on me. When I did my Shakespeare reading project in my 30s, I enjoyed that a lot. I've seen the film version with Kevin Kline as Bottom. Michelle Pfeiffer's in that, and that was enjoyable. I've seen that one live on the stage, a college production, and I've read that one. I might have taught that one too. I can't quite remember. It was so long ago. But anyway, that play is just magical, and I love the play within a play aspect of it, and it's filled with fun characters, and there's just a sort of sweetness and lightness to it that is just always in style. I love Midsummer Night's Dream, but it's honestly, I can't really answer that question. Like, I don't have a single favorite Shakespeare play. So I like The Tempest a lot too. Like, that would rank high in my estimation. But there's so many great ones, so many, that it's very difficult to pick a favorite. And of course, King Lear would be right up there as well. All right, prompt number 12, tag other booktubers. In the show description, I've tagged a few of my booktube buddies, and I hope you'll consider doing this. Feel no obligation to do so. And if you're not in that list, please consider yourself tagged and have fun with this. It's fun to sort of talk about our Shakespeare journey. Great playwright, and I hope to reread Shakespeare really soon. The one I did reread not long ago was Timon of Athens, and one of these days maybe I'll do a video on it. I'm not sure, but anyway, Shakespeare, was he the best ever? Probably, but great minds will differ on these matters. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope you tune back in very soon.